Bill Gates, you're the richest man in the world. We learnt this week that the richest 1% are going to own half of the world's wealth by next year. With such inequality, how can there still be enough progress to lift the poor out of poverty?
Well, global inequality is going down because countries like China, Brazil, Mexico, they've created a middle class. So their wealth is going up faster than the richer countries. We do see inequality within countries, and that is great to have debated. What kind of tax policies take the large estates, the large incomes, and deal with that in a just way. But for the very poorest in the world, having philanthropy and government aid get more generous, that's why we'll be able to achieve these aggressive goals. And so we're encouraging other people to engage in philanthropy. Our fortune is committed to helping those with the greatest needs.
You two predict great changes in global health over the next 15 years. Your foundation has committed a lot of money to tackling Ebola. How much do you worry that the Ebola epidemic is going to set back healthcare in those West African countries that are affected?
Health is a precursor to being able to go on to have a very transformative life. But what we're seeing is that Ebola will come under, it will get contained over time. And the key thing that we need to discuss as a world is how do you build up these primary healthcare systems so when an emergency comes in, they're prepared and they can take care of it.
All the progress that you're talking about that you hope will happen over the next 15 years, couldn't it be imperiled by climate change?
The amount of change caused in the next 15 years or even the next 30 years is modest enough that by helping these farmers, you can get ahead, you can get productivity up. We have to make sure that we stop emitting so much CO2 because the drastic scenarios are all out in the 2050 and actually most in the 2100 scenario. And that's up to the rich countries. They're the ones who are creating the problem. They have to change their transport and electricity systems, probably with new innovations.
Your message is definitely optimistic. You believe in progress over the next 15 years. For many people who worry about extremism, about inequality, about climate change, what gives you such grounds for optimism, both of you?
It's because of the people that we meet on the ground. We've been traveling now for over 15 years. When you travel to Tanzania, it's completely different than when we traveled there a decade ago. You see people lifting their own lives up. You see, as urbanization is happening, all the surrounding areas for miles out are coming to those markets and bringing strawberries and eggs. And so farmers are being able to lift their lives up and put their kids in school. When you see that and then you see the global statistics that these countries are doing better, you know there's room for optimism.
We're hard-headed. You know, we're spending our money because we actually look at those numbers and say, you know, what can we do in malaria? What can we do in diarrhea or respiratory disease? And the partnerships, including partnerships with the US government, the UK government, that's where we go and sit down with the Ethiopian government and say, okay, let's really get this primary health care right. We see it and we need to do more. We've seen the people who get ahead and we're spreading those best practices to all over Africa.
Bill and Melinda Gates, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.